So when you start your first full-time job, you might come across something called salary sacrificing. Now, don't worry, it's not some shady investment scheme or some kind of financial scam. It's perfectly legal. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you what salary sacrificing is, specifically for superannuation. Hey friends, welcome back to the Chris Chow Show, where I make videos about personal finance, saving money, and investing. Before we get started, make sure you sacrifice the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. So what exactly is salary sacrificing? Well, as its name applies, it involves sacrificing part of your salary in exchange for some sort of benefit. Salary sacrificing is also known as salary packaging or total remuneration packaging. Now, the benefit that you get in exchange for sacrificing your salary will ultimately depend on your employer. But some of the most common benefits include superannuation, electronic devices like your phone or laptop, and cars. As mentioned earlier in this video, we're going to focus solely on superannuation because it's one of the most widely used benefits. One thing to note is that some small businesses might not actually offer salary sacrificing because of the logistics and costs involved. Salary sacrificing super means that you have part of your before tax salary or wages paid directly into your super account. Now, you might be wondering, why would anyone do this when there's no better feeling than seeing your salary hit your bank account? Well, the main benefit of doing so is that you can minimize the tax you have to pay, and yes, it's completely legal. So how it works is that salary sacrifice contributions are classified as concessional contributions, which means that they're usually taxed at a concessional rate of 15%, which will be typically lower than your marginal tax rate, i.e. the tax rate that you pay on your salary and other income. I know this might be a little bit confusing, so let's work through an example. Meet Sam. Sam is a professional gamer and he's earning $85,000. And he decides to salary sacrifice $5,000 into super. Doing so means he will pay $750 in contributions tax instead of $1,725 in income tax. This difference means that he will have $975 more to invest. It's important to know that the figures used in these examples are only estimates, and I'm using the 2020 income tax rates, which includes the Medicare levy, and I'm also taking into account the low and middle income tax offset. You might be thinking to yourself, wow, this sounds like a great deal. Surely there has to be a catch. Well, there is, and it's called the concessional contributions cap. If you go past this cap, the excess contributions that you salary sacrifice will actually be included in your taxable income and will be taxed at your marginal tax rate, which means that there's no actual tax benefit for you in doing so. The cap includes any salary sacrifice contributions that you make and also the compulsory super guarantee that your employer has to pay. As of filming this video, the concessional contributions cap is $25,000 a year, but it will increase to $27,500 from the 1st of July 2021. Another benefit of salary sacrificing into your super is that it can help you save for your first home. So under the government's First Home Super Saver scheme, first home buyers can actually withdraw up to $30,000 in voluntary super contributions and any associated earnings to buy their first home. And as part of the 2021 federal budget, this amount was actually increased to $50,000. As with many things in life, there are some terms and conditions attached to the First Home Super Saver scheme. So make sure you read the fine print on the ATO website. Additionally, there is some debate on whether or not this scheme will actually be beneficial to you in the long run. So make sure you consider your own financial situation and ideally consult a financial advisor. Now, there are some disadvantages when it comes to salary sacrificing superannuation. And the biggest one is that your contributions will be locked up until you reach your preservation age, which for most people watching this video will be 60 years old. This means that you can't access that money until you turn 60. There are some exceptions that will allow you to have early access to your super. Like for example, during the pandemic last year when people were allowed to withdraw a maximum of $10,000 from their super if they were suffering financial hardships. But generally speaking, you're not going to be able to have access to any contributions you make. Another disadvantage is specifically for high income earners. If your combined income and your concessional contributions is over $250,000, you have to pay an additional 15% contributions tax, which means a total of 30% contributions tax. Ouch. But if you do earn that much, you probably have a financial advisor and not watching this video. So let's go over a few things you should consider before you decide whether or not to salary sacrifice super. The first thing to consider is your own financial situation and your financial goals. For example, if you have credit card debt piling up, it's probably better to pay that off instead of salary sacrificing into super. Or maybe you've paid off all your debts, but you don't have an emergency fund. So maybe you want to prioritize that first. Another important thing to consider is how close you are to hitting the concessional contributions cap. As I mentioned earlier, this cap does include the compulsory super guarantee that your employer has to make. Make sure you calculate everything correctly so that you don't go over the cap by accident. And lastly, you should consider what your current investment or retirement strategy is. Let's say you actually don't have one right now. Well, it would make more sense to contribute to your retirement via salary sacrificing into your superannuation. On the other hand, if you're already investing regularly and you have a strategy in place, then it might make sense to stick to that. If you want to learn more about superannuation, make sure you check out my beginner's guide to super video. I'll leave a link in the description box below. I also have another video that specifically compares retail and industry super, link also down below. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and hopefully learned a little bit more about salary sacrificing super. Make sure to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, if you want to let me know in the comments down below whether or not you salary sacrifice super. As always, an important disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor, this is not financial advice. This video and my channel is for general information only. As with anything in life, you should do your own due diligence and seek independent advice.